Now, going into this show, I was ready to hate it and tear it apart. And so when they said that this was going to have nothing to do with it, I just immediately assumed it was going to be terrible. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a review on a new series that has recently come out on Paramount Plus. This new series is called Wolfpack. It's based around a 2004 book by Ido van Belkom. The series is brought by Jeff Davis. Now, Jeff Davis, if you're not familiar with his work, he did the Teen Wolf series for MTV. And now when they announced this series has nothing to do with that series. It's a completely different world being based on this book. Just happens to be by the same guy who did a similar show, but it has nothing to do with that, nothing to do with the universe, nothing to do with the characters, any of it. And they're only a few episodes in, and I just kind of wanted to break down what's going on. The whole series so far, this is kind of a story so far thing, where the show is based around this group of kids who's caught in this evacuation from this town as they're dealing with a giant forest fire. Seems to be the same premise of the book and everything, but during this evacuation, all these animals are stampeding out of the woods. It's during this that it causes a lot of chaos, and kids get hurt, other people get trampled and killed. But during all of this, a couple of kids actually get bit, and it just kind of takes off from there. They're trying to figure out what bit them, what's happening to them, and during their stay at the hospital, because they get picked up, they all get a similar phone call saying they're going to die before the next full moon. This thing that bit them is coming after them. And naturally, we do find out that it is a werewolf. Not much more is revealed about this creature, like who it is or anything like that. But it also kind of dives off into this B-side story where we have the set of twins, a boy and a girl, who are they're with their adoptive father because they were actually found in the woods when they were kids during a similar situation. And it's actually revealed they were found as wolf cubs. And as he's going through the process of reporting them to probably the wildlife, what have you, they actually turn into kids. And it's from there he keeps this secret and just raises them as his own. And now with this wolf back, and it seems that it could be the father of these two kids. Now, going into this show, I was ready to hate it and tear it apart because it had nothing to do with Teen Wolf. And I really enjoyed Teen Wolf. I like Tyler Posey, Tyler Hoechlin, Dylan O'Brien, Crystal Reed, all the people that had to do with that particular series. And so when they said that this was going to have nothing to do with it, I just immediately assumed it was going to be terrible, because that was such a strong show. Yes, it had its ups and downs because we had characters come and go, and there was a fan favorite character, Styles, who was actually not in the last season, and he was kind of absent here and there throughout the last couple seasons because that particular actor's career really took off, and so he started doing other things. And to kind of go with that, it ended back in 2017, and lately they did a movie for it. It's not been well received, which is really unfortunate because I had high hopes for it and everything, but I go into that into a whole nother video. I'll put a link down in the description. But this new series, along with these new characters, it actually features one of my favorite actresses from the late 90s, early 2000s, who was in a similar genre, which is Sarah Michelle Gellar. And if you're not familiar with her, you need to go back and check out Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is what I grew up with. That was kind of my drawing point for the show because I am such a huge fan of her, and she's not done a lot of acting here in the last 10 plus years because she's been raising her kids, which is completely understandable. And so she comes back to this genre of TV, and she plays an arson investigator. And she believes these kids, or they know something about what causes this giant wildfire. And so her character is pretty prominent in the story, trying to investigate these kids, or investigates in general what the hell's going on and what they're so scared of and everything. But like I said, it's only 3 episodes in, and it premieres on Thursday, so we're currently waiting for the 4th episode. Along with, my initial criticism of the show, I did not have any faith in it. And immediately, like I said, when they said it was going to have nothing to do with the other series, I thought it was just some weird spin-off, but it's actually completely different. It just happens to be brought by the same guy who did Teen Wolf. And so the series itself, I just, I really wanted to pick apart and I wanted to hate, and I was prepared just to completely shit on the show. But just with these 3 episodes, it is kind of hard to get into because it's kind of been a slow start. But rather than absolutely hate it from the get-go, I'm actually finding myself kind of intrigued and wanting to know more about the story that's slowly progressing, and wanting to know about how they're going to do the wolves in this, because again, going back to Teen Wolf, I really enjoyed the mythology and the terminology that they used within that series. And being that this is based on a book that has nothing to do with that, I really doubt we'll see anything that mentions alphas or betas or the different types of glowing eyes. But yet these kids do have glowing eyes, but they really haven't gone too much into it yet. And so I'm just really nervous for the show, but at the same time, I'm still trying to give it a chance because there's not a whole lot of good shows out there these days, unfortunately. And so it's really hard to just dismiss it right away, even though some of it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, or just the story is just kind of very slow paced at the moment, and they're trying to introduce these characters and build up their background while at the same time trying to scare the crap out of people with this, what can only be described as an alpha werewolf, because it's in full wolf form, while these kids individually apparently have a lot of trouble accessing any other wolf abilities other than maybe enhanced hearing or enhanced smell or something like that. But I guess as together, as they become a pack, these little bits of things are kind of enhanced or brought out more by being together and being a pack. And so it's right there that kind of separates it from Teen Wolf. Sorry, I'll probably reference that a lot, but it separates itself from that show, because in that show, when you form a pack, it gives the alpha more power. And maybe that's the same situation here. But anyways, the show as a whole right now, as the story goes on and how we're trying to figure out who these kids are, because they're not normal kids. Like, one of the main characters, he has a really bad problem with anxiety, and the other one has a really bad home life and a parent that split on her. And then you got these twins who are adoptive kids but don't really know anything about who they are, where they're from, or their story really. And so it's all at the same time of trying to figure out what they're all about. And so the series itself is okay for the moment. It could take a turn and just be absolutely ridiculous, but I'm still willing to kind of give it that chance and see what happens with these characters and everything, and see if it really justifies Sarah Michelle Gellar being a part of this, because she did so well with Buffy for so long and previous other movies and everything, because the woman's been acting since she was like 5 years old. So she has a lot of experience in the area. And being a huge Buffy fan that I was, or am, it's really hard not to see her as that character, because you want to see her. Because in this show, as she plays this arson investigator, she's kind of a bitch. But I guess that kind of comes with the job. Right now, as it's only aired 3 episodes and we're getting ready to do the 4th, it's been an okay series, and I recommend that you at least check it out and give it a chance. It could be completely off of some people's radar just because some of the characters may not be what they want them to be, or just certain aspects of their personality or whatever they don't care for, because it is something you have to kind of warm up to with these characters. But anyways, that's kind of my story so far review for this show. It's doing okay, and I'm still kind of intrigued by the characters and by the story, and I want to see what happens. But at the same time, I don't think it'll have the same success as Teen Wolf, because people like me, I'm guilty of it, will keep comparing it to that show, being that it's brought by Jeff Davis, the same guy who was responsible for all of that. And so you really won't be able to watch this show and not think about it. And you'll compare it like I do, and you'll see these things that they don't do maybe quite as well as Teen Wolf did. But then again, completely different story, nothing to do with that world. And so it's just a matter of time to see if this show catches on, or if it's just one of those shows that doesn't work out. So anyways, there's kind of my little review and thoughts about the show. So if you enjoyed this little breakdown slash review of the show so far, please leave comments about it. I want to know what you guys think. And as always, if you feel so inclined, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. So until next time, guys, I will talk to you later. Bye.